All right, so today I'm going to introduce array lists. And array lists are part of the Java collections framework, and they're handy for storing groups of data into one structure. So we've seen something similar to this in arrays where you can store a whole bunch of stuff in an array. The one thing that I can't do with an array that I need an array list for is I want to be able to grow the array list dynamically because I want to use it to read in things from files and databases and sources of information where I just don't know how many elements there'll be, and I need to grow the list dynamically. In an array, you have to define how many elements you want up front, and then if you want more, you got to redefine the array, then copy the old values in. So I want to avoid that. And we use array lists all the time in Java. So let's take a look at our objective. We come in here and we see our objective. It says, write a program that queries the user to enter animal names in the console. And that's this down here, this console down here. And add the names to an array list. When the user is finished adding the names, have them enter a queue to quit and then print the results. So we don't know how many animals we're going to get. It's perfect for an array list, right? And they're going to be strings. So let me show you how to do this. Let's get our scanner because we want to enter stuff from our console window. Right? I'm going to call that input new scanner, and we'll use the system in input stream. Right? And then to do a Control-Shift-O to import the scanner, so it's in the util package. All right, now I want an array list, right? So I'm gonna instantiate an array list. I'm gonna define it and instantiate it. Now these angle brackets here, this is going to be used for the type of data I'm gonna put in my array list. So let me go ahead and get rid of that red. Let me finish this. I'm gonna call this animals new array list. Use empty angle brackets here if you're using Java 1.8 or above. I'm going to do a Control-Shift-O, and let's just quickly revisit this right here. So this is saying, hey, I can only put strings into this array list. If I go like this and I say integer, then I can only put integers in this array list. So it's providing type safety, and there's still flexibility. And we'll go into this in my generics. I have like 4 generics videos for this. But right now, just know that this is making it so that only strings are going to go into this array list if I put string here. Now, if you're using Java 1.7 or below, you also have to put the string here too. It'll work in 1.8, but it's just redundant. You don't need it. Let me go ahead and get rid of string. All right, so now we have an array list and we have our scanner. I need a string for my response from the user. I'm going to use an empty string. I'm not going to make it null because when I do my while loop, I want to check to make sure it is my response is not equal. So I'll say not response equals ignore case q. Right? Now, if I made this null, then I would get a null pointer exception when I tried to access this method right here. Since I made it an empty string, I can still access this ignores case, but it's going to say no, it's not equal to q because it's equal to the empty string. So I'll be okay. So we're going to enter the while loop for the first iteration. Let me do a sys out, prompt the user for what they want. So I'll say enter an animal name. Type Q to quit. There we go. All right, now I'll get my response. The response will be from input, and I'll do next line. See, that returns the string back the user entered. All right, now I want to do an if statement because I want to make sure, I don't want to add a queue to my array list of animals, and somebody is going to type in a queue, right? I'm also not going to check to see if they're actual animals. This would be a good task to give a student to check what the user entered against a known list, but we're not going to do that in this video. It'll take too long. So I'm going to say if. I want to just make sure that that's also not this, right? I don't want him to enter a queue. If he enters a queue, I want to skip over the part where I put it in the array. and then I'm going to get my animals. Now I'm going to add. So that's how you add something to an array list. You hit this add, right? Any list, actually. I'll show you more lists as the videos progress. Let's go ahead, and we have a response. We're assuming it's a correct animal. We're assuming it's spelled correctly. All right, this is good. Now our next part is we want to print the results once we quit. So I'm doing my sys out, control space. Let's make a little banner for our animals. Animals. All right, now make a for loop. We're going to loop through our animals list, and you can loop through it just like anything else. So int I equals 0. We start at 0. The index of the first element is going to be 0. While I is less than animals size I plus plus. There we go. So this is going to increment my for loop by 1, my counter by 1 every time I go through the loop, which is awesome because we want to get every single animal in our list. Animals, and you're gonna get the animal with get, right? So in arrays we use this bracket note. We use a bracket notation here with the I with the index. Here we use get. All right, so that should do it. The only thing, see a yellow line here. It says, don't forget, close. It says resource leak. Input is never closed. Let's go ahead and close our input. Perfect. This is good. Let's try it. There we go. And we'll do dog. And we'll do cat, fish, bird. And then now I'm getting bored, so I'm going to hit quit. Q. Boom. And there we go. We got our animals. They printed out. So you have capability of adding data to a dynamically to a data structure. You don't have to reallocate memory every time you need this array list to get bigger. The array list does that itself. It knows how to do that. And we'll get more and more into lists and other data structures as we progress. So if you want to play around with this, maybe make some sort of type checking to make sure that there are animals from an approved list that you can put into this add animals. Maybe we could show you how to do that in another video. All right, have a good, hopefully you had a good session here, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments.